3 wins in a row, 2 inspection failures, and a fuel mileage heartbreak that could decide the championship. Pocono just changed everything, and you need to hear this. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. The driver everyone thought was in trouble before the race even started, he might have just sent a warning to the entire championship field. Stick around, because what happened in the final laps is going to leave you speechless. This weekend at Pocono felt like one of those NASCAR weekends where every few hours something happens that completely changes the conversation. And honestly, that's exactly why this sport is so addictive. Coming into today, there were already questions swirling around one of the biggest names in the garage. Then, just when it felt like everyone was locked on to that developing situation, the race itself delivered another massive storyline that could have huge implications for the rest of the season. What's wild is that these are two completely different stories, but they're both tied to one of the biggest themes we're seeing right now in the Cup Series: momentum. Some drivers are finding it, some teams are fighting to hold on to it, and some championship contenders are suddenly facing challenges they never expected, right as we head into one of the most important stretches of the year. The first story started before the race even began. The second story completely flipped the conversation after the checkered flag. And trust me, fans are going to be talking about both of these for days. So if you're new here, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because we're covering every twist of this Cup Series season as it unfolds, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Let's start with the story that had everyone buzzing before the green flag even dropped. This wasn't the kind of headline Hendrick Motorsports wanted heading into race day. Before the Great American Getaway 400 even started, Kyle Larson's number 5 Chevrolet failed NASCAR inspection. Twice on Saturday. That immediately triggered penalties. The number 5 team lost its pit stall selection for the entire weekend, and car chief Jesse Saunders was ejected from the track entirely. And it wasn't just Larson's team. Daniel Dye's number 78 team also failed inspection twice and received identical penalties, creating another headache for the organization before the race had even started. Now, whenever fans hear inspection failure, the first instinct is panic. Is the team pushing the limits too far? Is something bigger going on behind the scenes? But here's where this story takes a turn nobody expected. Despite all the penalties, despite losing pit stall selection, despite having a key crew member pulled from the track, Kyle Larson still looked like one of the fastest cars at Pocono all weekend long. Earlier on Saturday, Larson topped the speed charts in practice with a lap of 170.707 miles per hour around the tricky triangle. Not only was he fastest in single-lap speed, he also led the field in 10-lap average speed, which is often an even better predictor of who's going to be strong in race conditions. That told everyone in the garage something important. This wasn't a fluke. The number 5 car had long-run speed, qualifying speed, and looked genuinely capable of winning. Then came qualifying. Even after all the inspection drama, Larson backed it up by posting the second fastest lap, locking in a front-row starting spot for Sunday. That's what made this whole situation so fascinating. The penalties created adversity. The inspection failures created distractions. Losing Jesse Saunders forced Hendrick Motorsports to completely adjust their race day operations, but none of that seemed to slow down the actual performance of the car. If you're a Larson fan, that probably gave you some confidence heading into Sunday. But the real question was always about strategy. Pit stall selection matters. Crew communication matters. Every tiny advantage matters when you're racing against names like Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Tyler Reddick. And as if that wasn't enough chaos already, NASCAR had another problem on their hands: Mother Nature. Officials grew concerned about weather rolling into the Pocono Mountains and made the call to move the race start time up from 3 p.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern, trying to get the full race in before the rain hit. Add another layer of uncertainty to an already chaotic weekend. And remember, this was race 16 of the 2026 Cup Series season. The playoff picture is tightening. Every point matters. Every position matters. Every mistake matters. So Larson went into Sunday with incredible speed, but also extra pressure thanks to everything that happened before the green flag. Now here's where the second story begins. Because while everyone was locked onto Larson's penalty drama and whether he could overcome it, another veteran completely flipped the script. Denny Hamlin did it again. And at this point, NASCAR fans have to start asking a serious question. Who is actually going to stop this guy? Hamlin captured his third consecutive victory, winning the Great American Getaway 400 at Pocono Raceway, continuing one of the hottest stretches we've seen from any driver this season. The number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota looked dominant all day, but the race really swung in Hamlin's favor after the final restart. Once he got out front, he just drove away. The lead pack couldn't match his pace. The strategy worked. The execution was flawless. Hamlin built enough of a cushion to comfortably hold the lead, even after stretching his final green flag pit sequence longer than several drivers around him. This wasn't a fuel mileage gamble that barely paid off. This was pure control. And when you watch a championship-level team operating at its absolute best, that's exactly what it looks like. But the late race drama didn't stop there. One of the biggest storylines came from Christopher Bell. Bell tried to stretch fuel for the final 52 laps and looked like he might pull off something incredible, but heartbreak struck at the worst possible moment. Coming to the white flag, Bell ran out of fuel. 1 lap away. 1 lap. Instead of fighting for a win or a podium finish, Bell dropped all the way down to 26th place, becoming the next-to-last car on the lead lap. That result could end up being a massive factor when the playoff battle tightens up later in the season. Another huge story from Pocono. Legacy Motor Club had arguably one of their strongest days in a long time. John Hunter Nemechek led a season-high 42 laps and brought home a 4th-place finish. Meanwhile, Erik Jones finished 6th, gaining valuable ground as he keeps fighting to close in on the playoff cutoff line. For Legacy Motor Club, this is the kind of weekend that can completely shift momentum inside an organization. As for the final results, here's how the top 10 finished. Denny Hamlin took the win, followed by Tyler Reddick in 2nd, William Byron in 3rd, John Hunter Nemechek in 4th, Kyle Larson in 5th, Erik Jones in 6th, Chris Buescher in 7th, Ross Chastain in 8th, Ty Gibbs in 9th, and Ryan Blaney in 10th. Just outside the top 10, Chase Elliott in 11th, Chase Briscoe in 12th, Daniel Suarez in 13th, Austin Cindric in 14th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 15th, Riley Herbst in 16th, Michael McDowell in 17th, Austin Hill in 18th, Todd Gilliland in 19th, and Carson Hocevar in 20th. Further back, Bubba Wallace in 21st, AJ Allmendinger in 22nd, Connor Daly in 23rd, Cole Custer in 24th, Austin Dillon in 25th, Christopher Bell in 26th, Alex Bowman in 27th, Ryan Preece in 28th, Daniel Dye in 29th, Cody Ware in 30th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 31st, Ty Dillon in 32nd, Josh Berry in 33rd, Joey Logano in 34th, Casey Mears in 35th, Noah Gragson in 36th, Zane Smith in 37th, and Brad Keselowski rounding out the field in 38th. So, what does all of this actually mean for where the season stands right now? Kyle Larson showed incredible speed despite facing adversity before the race even started. Finishing fifth after everything that happened with those inspection penalties proves the number 5 team is still one of the strongest organizations in the garage. But the bigger headline belongs to Denny Hamlin. 3 straight wins, another dominant performance, another statement victory. And now the rest of the field has a serious problem. Because when a veteran driver starts stacking wins like this, confidence becomes just as dangerous as raw speed. We're getting closer to the playoffs. The pressure is rising every single week. Championship contenders are starting to separate themselves from the pack, and right now, Denny Hamlin looks like a driver who genuinely believes this could be his year. But here's something to think about before you go. If Hamlin keeps this pace up, and Larson keeps overcoming every obstacle thrown at him, what happens when these two collide head-to-head with a championship on the line? Because based on what we just saw at Pocono, that collision might be coming sooner than anyone expects. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who impressed you more today? Larson overcoming everything to finish in the top 5, or Hamlin making it 3 wins in a row? And if you want to be there when that next big storyline breaks, make sure you're subscribed, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.